Hey there, welcome to PanoramaQA. I am stoked to have you here. Today, we're diving into the world of computer parts. Hit subscribe and let's get started. The computer case or chassis. Feature: protective enclosure for internal components. Types: mid-tower, full tower, mini ITX, micro ATX. Material: steel, aluminium, tempered glass. Ventilation: fans, vents, and mesh for cooling. Expansion slots: accommodates different motherboard sizes. Front panel: power button, USB ports, audio jacks. Cable management: space for organized cable routing. Motherboard feature: various ports for peripherals and expansion slots. Placement: inside the computer case. Types: ATX, micro ATX, mini ITX. Central Processing Unit, CPU. Feature: multi-core processing for parallel task execution. Placement: socket on the motherboard. Types: Intel Core i9, AMD Ryzen 9. Random Access Memory, or RAM. Feature: fast data access for active tasks. Placement: DIMM slots on the motherboard. Types: DDR4, DDR5. Hard drive, HDD. Feature: affordable high-capacity storage. Placement: mounted in the drive bay. Types: Western Digital Blue, Seagate Barracuda. Solid-state drive, SSD. Feature: faster data access and improved durability. Placement: mounted in the drive bay. Types: Samsung 970 EVO, Crucial MX500. Graphics Processing Unit, GPU. Feature: dedicated graphics processing for gaming and rendering. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. Types: NVIDIA GeForce RTX, AMD Radeon RX. Power Supply Unit, PSU. Feature: efficient power conversion and cable management. Placement: mounted at the top or bottom of the case. Types: modular, semi-modular, non-modular. Optical drive, CD/DVD/Blu-ray. Feature: reads and writes optical discs. Placement: external or mounted in a drive bay. Types: CD-ROM, DVD-RW, Blu-ray. Sound card feature: enhanced audio processing for better sound quality. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. Types: internal, external, USB. Network interface card, NIC. Feature: wired network connectivity. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. Types: Gigabit Ethernet, 10 GBE. Wi-Fi card feature: wireless network connectivity. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. Types: Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E. Cooling fans. Feature: efficient heat dissipation for component cooling. Placement: attached to the case or components. Types: case fans, CPU fans, GPU fans. Heatsink feature: passive cooling using metal fins. Placement: mounted on the CPU. Types: air-cooled, liquid-cooled. BIOS, basic input-output system. Feature: firmware for system initialization. Placement: embedded on the motherboard. CMOS battery. Feature: powers the CMOS memory for system settings. Placement: on the motherboard. Expansion slots, PCI, PCIe. Feature: allows additional component attachment. Placement: on the motherboard. Types: PCI, PCIe X1, PCIe X16. I/O shield feature: protective plate with integrated ports. Placement: on the back of the case. USB ports. Feature: versatile connectivity for peripherals like keyboards, mice, and external drives. Placement: on the I/O panel of the motherboard and front top of the computer case. Types: USB 2.0, USB 3.0, USB-C, standard, micro, mini connectors. HDMI port. Feature: high-definition multimedia interface for audio and video. Placement: on the graphics card and I/O panel of the motherboard. Types: HDMI 1.4, HDMI 2.0, HDMI 2.1 for varying resolutions and refresh rates. VGA port. Feature: analog video connection for older displays. Placement: on the I/O panel of the motherboard or dedicated graphics card. Types: D-sub, analog, DVI to VGA adapters for compatibility. Ethernet port. Feature: wired network connectivity for high-speed internet. Placement: on the I/O panel of the motherboard. Types: gigabit Ethernet, 10/100 megabits per second for different network speeds. Audio jacks. Feature: analog audio connections for headphones, microphones, and speakers. Placement: on the I/O panel of the motherboard in front of the computer case. Types: 3.5 mm headphone jack, microphone jack, line in, line out, TRS, TRRS connectors. Case or tower feature. Enclosure for housing and protecting components. Placement: external. Types: mid-tower, full tower. Keyboard feature. Mechanical switches for tactile feedback and durability. Placement: external input device connected via USB or wireless. Types: mechanical, membrane, ergonomic. Mouse feature. Precision optical or laser sensors for accurate tracking. Placement: external input device connected via USB or wireless. Types: wired, wireless, gaming mice with customizable buttons. Monitor feature. High-resolution display for crisp visuals. Placement: external output device connected via HDMI, DisplayPort, or other interfaces. Types: IPS, Tennessee, OLED, curved or flat, high refresh rate for gaming. External drive bays. Feature: spaces for additional external drives. Placement: front or top of the case. Internal drive bays. Feature: spaces for internal drive installation. Placement: inside the case. RAID controller. Feature: manages multiple drives for data redundancy or performance. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. Modem feature. Provides internet connectivity through telephone lines. Placement: PCIe slot on the motherboard. M.2 slot feature. Compact slot for high-speed M.2 solid-state drives. Placement: on the motherboard. Chipset feature. Manages communication between components. Placement: on the motherboard. SATA connectors. Feature: interfaces for connecting storage drives. Placement: on the motherboard. Thermal paste feature. Improves heat transfer for better cooling. Placement: between the CPU and heatsink. VRM, voltage regulator module. Feature: regulates and supplies power to the CPU. Placement: on the motherboard. USB hub feature. Expands the number of USB ports. Placement: external. Bluetooth adapter feature. Enables Bluetooth connectivity. Placement: USB port or internal PCIe slot. Webcam feature. High-definition video for clear online communication. Placement: external device typically mounted on the monitor or laptop. Types: built-in, external USB, 4K resolution webcams. Microphone. Feature: noise canceling for clear and crisp audio capture. Placement: external input device connected via USB or built into headsets. Types: condenser, dynamic, USB microphones. Speakers. Feature: high-quality audio output for immersive sound experience. Placement: external output devices connected via audio jacks or USB. Types: 2.0, 2.1, 5.1 speaker systems. Bookshelf, satellite, subwoofer configurations. Power cables. Power cord. Connects the power supply unit to the electrical outlet. Power extension cable. Extends the reach of power cords. Data cables. USB cable. Connects various peripherals like keyboards, mice, and external drives. HDMI cable. Transmits high-definition video and audio signals. DisplayPort cable. Connects monitors and graphics cards for high-quality video. Ethernet cable. Provides wired network connectivity. Audio cables. 3.5 mm audio cable. Connects headphones, speakers, and microphones. RCA cable. Analog audio-video cable used in some older devices. Internal computer cables. SATA cable. Connects storage drives, HDD, SSD, to the motherboard. Power supply cables, ATX, EPS. Connects the power supply to the motherboard. Front panel connectors. Connects the case buttons and LEDs to the motherboard. PCIe power cable. Powers graphics cards that require additional power. Video and audio cables. Optical cable, Toslink. Transmits digital audio signals. VGA cable. Older analog video cable. DVI cable. Transmits digital video signals. Charging cables. Micro USB, USB-C, Lightning. Charge and connect mobile devices. Specialized cables. M2 cable. Connects M2 solid-state drives to the motherboard. Internal USB header cable. Connects USB ports on the case to the motherboard. Thank you for joining me in this learning journey. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Feel free to ask me any questions in English, Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, Kannada, Odia, Malayalam, or any language of your choice. I'm here to help. Happy learning.